Okay, this is just not gonna get any better. World silver production, average yield of what they're hauling out of the ground per ton. Uh, they haul a ton of ore out of the ground. They dig it out of the ground and they have to process it. They have to crush rock, oftentimes in a rock crusher, and then they have to run it through these big long belts that they carry the crushed rock, and then they run it through another rock crusher, and they end up crushing it into powder, and then they have to put it in these things where they work the slurry through, and they turn it into like a slurry, and then they add chemicals to it and stuff. And the end result is they extract the silver out of this ore. Now, if we get a ton of ore, how many ounces of silver do they get? Now here's the thing. Going back to 2005, which is not that long ago, really. They used to get 13 ounces of silver out of every ton of ore that they had to crush and work. It's a lot of work. Okay, it's not actual hands-on work as in they crush it by their hands, but they have a machine that crushes it. They have a big crusher, a rock crusher, and they have to crush it down to a powder, and that takes a lot of energy. It takes energy, it takes oil to crush that rock down to a powder. Now, one of the things that's helped them is the declining price of oil. This has been a huge factor in helping the silver producers maintain lower costs. The fact that they can buy gasoline and diesel fuel, specifically diesel fuel, cheaper, because that's what it takes to run their big machines. A lot of them are run off of diesel engines, and so they use a lot of diesel. And diesel prices are lower than they have been, and this is a big help in extracting the silver. But they've had a drop off from 13 ounces of silver for every ton of ore that they process down to 7.4. The latest figure that just came out is 7.4 ounces. So you're pretty darn near cutting it in half, the amount of silver that they're getting. Now, this decline has been a steady decline since 2005 till now, and this decline is not going to go away. They've went all over the earth. They've hunted, and they've found every last deposit of silver that's a good deposit. So if they find a new deposit, it's likely going to be actually lower than 7.4 ounces per ton if they do find a new deposit at this point. And so it's just a declining, taking more energy to produce less silver. And it's just going to continue to decline this way. And so as the oil price starts to go back up again, they're just not going to be able to maintain these kind of prices for silver. The miners won't be able to. Right now, they're getting pretty darn close to cost. As far as by the time they get it out of the ground and get it into a coin form and everything, by the time they count into exploration and all the other fees that they have, they're getting down near cost. Like you get some of these people that say, "Oh, it only costs $5 to produce a 1 ounce of silver," but that's not all in cost. That's just paying for their diesel. Practically, you know what I mean? And they can say, hey, this is our cost of $5 to produce an ounce, but they're probably looking at the most productive part of their mine. They're probably looking at only the costs for diesel or for what it costs to extraction costs only. They're not looking at all-in costs of maintenance of the mine and all these other different fees that they add in. Then they start to get up near the costs that they're getting for it, so that they're not making any money. And so they can pull accounting tricks and stuff to try to marginalize the cost of production of silver. But in the end, it's going to win out that when the diesel prices start to go back up again, and now that they're only getting 7.4 ounces per ton of ore, that they have to grind it into a powder basically to get this silver. They have to put it through rock crusher after rock crusher. I think the process works like, as first they haul it out, you're looking at big rocks, and then the first crusher knocks it down to what they call 4-inch oversize. The 4-inch oversize is a rock that's like about this big, and then the next crusher knocks it down into like 2-inch, and then another crusher knocks it down to like pea size. And then they keep doing that until they get it right down to what they can work with to extract the silver out. It's a long, tedious process, and it requires a lot of diesel fuel, and it requires a lot of maintenance on their machines and everything else. They've been putting off maintenance. They've been putting off buying new machinery. They've been putting off. They've been only that. This is the tricks that the miners have been pulling. They've been mining the best grade ore from their mines. Now, if we look at the fact that they're mining their best grade ore, and they're mining out the best parts of their mine. See, they have different parts of their mine. They have maybe a section over here where they have the ore that only yields, say, 4 ounces per ton. And then they have a section over here that might yield 10 ounces per ton. In hard times like what we've been going through, they will dig through the good stuff first. And this is a big factor that they're not putting here on this chart. And if they put that on this chart, it would even look worse. So what we're dealing with here is we're dealing with a price that's going to have to be much higher and less inventory coming out, less mining production every year. And silver demand's exploding. So this whole thing is falling off a cliff. It's falling off a cliff. And this is where is this gonna end? This is actually gonna end, I believe, in a silver shortage. Now, when I'm talking about a silver shortage, I have to make it clear, because this doesn't mean that the world's out of silver. That's not what a silver shortage means. It just means that the cheap silver that you want to buy is not available anymore at those prices. So you're going to have to be a significant price increase in silver, and that's what we're looking at coming up. And that's why they've put these breakers in. A little while ago, and it went unbeknownst to most people, they put breakers in the market for both gold and silver. I think the breaker for silver is like $3 or $4. If it moves like $4 up, $4, the breaker kicks in, and it stops the market for a few minutes. And then I think they can have like 4 breakers in a day or something like that. I remember when they put it in, I knew the information on this, and offhand I can't bring it right up. But there are breakers in. I know that they put breakers in the market, and they didn't put the breakers in for a drop in price. They've put the breakers in to hold it back if it takes off, so that they can bring their buddies in and do something, and try to stop it or try to manipulate the market, which is what they've been doing all along. This is why they put these breakers in. It's a criminal element that's running the system. Well, anyway, I've probably talked enough about this. Suffice to say that that silver is heading off a cliff as far as the world production is concerned, and this is going to end very badly for the ones who are trying to suppress the price of silver. Thank you very much for listening. Like and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next article. Bye.